right. Welcome to Real Migos. Drop in the comments where you're coming from. I know all of you love to see Ian in these videos. He's been fired. I'm just kidding. He's out showing homes tonight, so he couldn't make it, and I didn't let him know that we were doing it tonight. Miscommunication on my part. I got clients coming in tomorrow, so I couldn't do it tomorrow. So here we are. We're doing tonight. So there's a lot of stuff happening in the market. I want to go through what's happening in the Austin market because the Austin numbers came out, and from the side eye, it looks really bad. If you look at it a little bit closer, there's definitely some interesting things happening there. So we're going to go through that. And guess what? Jeremy doesn't agree with the numbers again because I found their errors. So we're going to go through that real quick. Just drop in where you're coming from, and we are going to get started. So I have that. We're going to talk about Warren Buffett buying millions of dollars in different companies in real estate. So we're going to go through that. We're going to go through what's happening with some of the things, some of the outlooks, and we're going to go from there. I am changing up the channel, what we're doing here on the channel. And you probably noticed Tuesdays, usually I put out a video. I am going to start moving away from doing the informational videos on Tuesdays and stick to doing all the information stuff here on Real Migos. So if you like these informational videos, I'm going to put them here, all information, and then we're going to cut the clips and put those out on Sundays like we normally do. What up, Matt and ATX? Good to see you, man. And good evening, Color Holes. What a colorful name. That's what we're going to do. I'm going to go back to doing a little bit more property tour style videos and information about neighborhoods and things like that, and just kind of move away from all of the information. I got to be honest with you, after 3 years running this channel, running a team, a real estate team, obviously everything with the pandemic, this channel, believe it or not, takes about 20 to 25 hours a week of my time. So I've had to really kind of sit back and prioritize what's going to be the most efficient and helpful for me and my family and for everything. If you haven't noticed, I lost 40 pounds, almost 40 pounds. So I put a lot of weight on because of this channel. So it's time to lose some of that and rebrand this channel a little bit. So we're still going to be doing Real Migos weekly. We're going to still be putting out the clips on Saturdays, Sundays. And we're just going to start doing more like informational about different neighborhoods. If you like that, drop a comment if you like it. If you hate that idea, drop that comment too. All right, I want to get into it. Jeremy Knight, the Night Group, your favorite Austin realtor. Let's get into it. So the Austin housing market numbers come out, and it is pretty darn interesting. What we saw over the last 2 years was a crazy ride up. Now we're starting to see that crazy ride down. And I really do have a feeling that a lot of people are going to look at 2023 into early 2024 and treat it like 2019, where they say, I wish I would have bought in 2023 and early 2024. And let's just get into it and show you why. So here are the numbers. This is the Austin stats. We're down 12% year over year. I'm going to show you why this may be wrong because I've already found a pretty big discrepancy. Number one, I'm the only one that follows these numbers and actually charts these numbers. Nobody else does. So in charting these numbers, I already found a couple mistakes. So number one, let's look at this. So the median price is down 12% year over year, and this is city of Austin. So when people look at these, they usually look at the MSA or they look at Austin. So the MSA numbers are the ones that get printed more widely, which encompass 5 counties. I've gone over why I don't think Caldwell should be in, and it does touch Austin about by that much. So 20% down in Pflugerville. We'll look at the numbers. I'll actually pull it for you, Aaron. At the end of this, I'll pull up the Pflugerville stats and show you the Pflugerville stat number because that might have changed a little bit. So anyway, so here we go. So what's interesting is it shows that we're up 26 days for average days on market. If you look at last month, which was June, it was at 42 days. And it's at 43 now. So this is a year over year stat. What's interesting to me is that new listings are down. And nationally, we're going to go over this. Nationally, listings are down kind of across the country. We have a really low inventory. So that's what's keeping prices artificially high in a lot of markets. Unfortunately, Austin saw a lot of inventory, which we've talked about this year. The thing that's interesting to me is that we're at 3.9 months inventory, but pending sales went up. And if you look at the closed sales right here, so pending sales is up 13%. But if we look at the closed sales, they're down 1%. Now, this is where who you listen to and what you watch comes into hand, because I actually charted this. So real quick, here's the numbers. It's showing Austin is down below 2021 numbers right now. Austin prices dropped below 2021 numbers according to this. I'm going to show you why I think that might actually be wrong, but we'll see that in a second. But here's what I found interesting about that Austin number is the sales, the closed sales. It shows that it was down 1%. The closed sales are actually over last year. So imagine that. They're saying that we're actually down 1%, but we're actually flat. So that made me actually go search and look at the sales for the last month and actually see what happened there. Here's what I found interesting. Here's the stats that I pulled. Make sure you can see this. Okay, here's the stats that I pulled. So for the month of July, I showed 875 closings. This information that came out showed 837. So I'm pulling more closings, but I've noticed that, and this is with me niching down and putting only Travis County. But what I noticed is that the closed sales that I pull for comps is at 575. So some people say you can't pull this data from the MLS, but this is the data from the MLS. This is all the closings from the MLS. And it's showing that the accumulative days on market was only 25, but we are selling at 96% of list price. So if you're looking at, where you should be offering or how you should be offering, know that most homes are selling 4% below list price. Now that price is actually a lot lower probably, but that's on the median. But the average really is 575, and they are posting us at 550. So however they pull these numbers, I think they're wrong there. Let's look at the MSA, which is the larger area. Sean says, I'm so glad I didn't buy there and moved away. Okay, good for you, man. Aaron says, listings are down because summer season is almost over and kids are back to school. Tax and interest rates are crazy. Yeah, agree with you both. So here's what's interesting. I agree with you, Aaron, that is part of it, but that is what happens pretty much every single year. Let me pull up the closed numbers here. Where's my chart? Come on, man. There we go. So every year, this time of year, July comes around and sales plummet. I mean, they plummet. But if that's the case, remember, these sales are pretty much a month behind. So this July sales is for all the homes that went under contract in June. This June is for pretty much all the homes that went under contract in May. So if you think about this, we actually saw an increase, according to their numbers, we actually saw an increase of pending sales both in the MSA and in Austin, 14%. That's why active listings aren't as high as they probably would have. And Austin, the MSA actually stayed at 3.7 months inventory. So it didn't fluctuate. And this sales number is wrong here as well. It shows that it's up less than 1%. It's actually down. I think these are probably reverted. I think that's what happened. I think that's exactly what happened, is that this should have been up a quarter of a percent or whatever this was for the Austin numbers, and the MSA numbers were down 1%. Now I figured out what they did wrong. They just transposed the numbers. Okay. Aaron says, I mean, prices are down lower than 2020. That's not true. Let's look at that, because I actually have that chart, Aaron. It's a good thing you're watching this channel, because I actually follow the numbers. Here's 2020 for the Austin area. This is Austin, not the MSA, which is the larger area. We ended the year at 461. We are down below 2021's numbers, but not necessarily 2020's numbers. And again, I really think this number should be 575, which is right at 2020's numbers. So this is where we are in the Austin housing market. Pretty interesting that we're seeing these numbers. Obviously, there still is a lot of inventory. We're hanging around for the Austin market around 11,990 homes. It goes up. Thursdays it usually lists, and I've been watching it. So we've been staying in that. So we're not really seeing a huge increase of inventory right now, and it could be to Aaron's point. Yet we're not seeing a huge decrease in inventory either. Now, if you are getting ready to buy, like I've been saying for a long time, this is probably going to be the time of the year to buy versus the beginning, because, I mean, we are close to the beginning of the year's prices, but it's definitely becoming a better time to buy than it was in April, May, or June. So Why I say that though is that if you're looking at this time of year, it's tough because interest rates are definitely higher. It's something we're going to talk about. Yet we see a lot more inventory right now. We see a lot more inventory than we saw at the beginning of the year. So if you are buying or getting ready to buy it, yes, interest rates are higher, but we are able to negotiate deals. I know a deal that my wife, Eileen, just put under contract. So I work with a lot of our clients, but Eileen, my wife, works with most of our buyer clients. And I tried to get her on here tonight, and she's probably watching this right now. She wouldn't come on here. She was like, "Hey, I got to go work and actually do all the real work while you have a fun on Real Migos." So there you go. But anyway, get to the point here. So yeah, we are getting close to those below 2021 numbers. So realistically, if you would have bought in 2021, you were probably still in a better position, because at 2021 at 575, you probably had a 2.5% to 3% interest rates, where right now it's at 7% interest rate. And we're going to get into why that might be kind of important right here. So the next thing I want to talk about, so we saw that with the Austin. Any questions before I move on? Any questions about the Austin market? Aaron says here, I mean, prices are lower than 2021 prices. Take my house. You can get it for $5K cheaper. Your payments would be $1,600 higher. That's the exact point I just made. Thanks, Aaron. And you save $5K, but built $18K in equity, 100%. So here's what's pretty interesting about where we're going forward, though, is that in the housing market, we are now at pretty much close to 8.9% of homes are over $1 million. And this is what's been tough with the Austin market. And we're going to get into the future of the Austin market here in a second. There's a Fortune article I'm going to talk about. Why are the million plus homes coming on the market all of a sudden? You know, Matt, that's a good question. I think the reality is, so I had clients that were in town from LA this last week, and we were showing homes up to about $5 million. And my clients wanted pretty much brand new, move-in ready, closer to Austin. And the reality is, finding brand new close into Austin was going to be, and in fact, I have a video next week coming out of one of the homes we toured, was $5.7 million. So if you're wanting to get one of those luxury homes, they're still not really the best out there. Now, one property we looked at was, I think, 3.9 in Rob Roy. It's a beautiful location to be in, Rob Roy. Fantastic location to be in there. But you had a like 1980s home with kind of a nice redo. It was still a 1980s home. So that's what you're running into in the luxury market. Sean says that BlackRock and Redfin turned Austin into an investor market, not a homeowner's market. I'm happy investors are losing money. I don't think that that's necessarily true. I don't think it was BlackRock and Redfin that caused it. I think a lot of speculation. You had a lot of things happening right at the beginning of 2020. Obviously, we had the pandemic. We had all these crazy things. People were looking for places to go. They heard that Austin was an affordable place and they were leaving California. And then you had the announcement of Elon saying that, hey, I'm moving all of these jobs here. We had tech companies that were moving people here left and right. And you had Facebook, Meta, you had all these companies that were moving in. So I don't necessarily think it was all BlackRock. I think, you know, you could be right in saying that your happy investors are losing money, but you know, that is neither here nor there. Aaron says, at Sean, I'm up 450K. I wouldn't call it losing money. So Aaron is the resident investor in here. So, you know, he does have quite a few properties in investment. So let's go back to this. Come on now. There you go. So here's what's interesting about this and why I brought this up about the $1 million price point is that 8% of homes are over $1 million. They said 1 in 10 homes. It's actually like 0.8 in 10 homes are over $1 million. But here's what I found really interesting about this article and why I want to talk about it is that since before the pandemic, we went from 0.5 homes that were over $1 million to about 10%. So from the beginning of the pandemic till now, a lot of that is that growth where people were speculating and buying. But here's where I wanted to bring this up. And that's this. In the Austin market, and this is why I think this is important, in the Austin market, Austin itself on this list is down year over year 4% in $1 million homes. So if you think about it, we had a lot of homes that were in that 850, 800 price point that people were bidding $300,000 over list price to get, pushing those homes up over $1 million. Now, I was one of those people myself in June of last year that purchased a home that pushed a property close to $1 million because of all the people buying. So I'm kind of one of the people in this boat. I don't plan on selling it for 10 years or more. So I'm not necessarily worried, and I got a low interest rate. So that's why we're probably seeing too, drop in the comments if you're seeing this, if people have low interest rates, why would they sell? But here's what I found interesting about this is compared to, so share of homes worth at least $1 million in June 2023 in the Austin area is still over 10%. And if you look at a lot of these markets, I mean, there's a lot of areas that are over $1 million homes. And so that's what we're seeing as far as the unaffordability problem here in the Austin area. You have property taxes that have hit really hard. You have homes that were $850 getting bid up to, $1.1, $1.2 million. And now we're seeing them come back under $1 million, about 4% less. But since 2022, we're up 15%. So that's still a lot of homes, 15% since 2022 that are over $1 million. So that leads me to my next point over here is that what's going to happen in the Austin market with these high prices? Yeah. And Sean, you're right. 100% you're right, Sean. It's a gold. Sorry. Sean's comment was the golden handcuffs interest rates. You are correct. 100%. I know a lot of people that are moving and leaving 2.5%, 3% for 6.5%, 7%. And they're doing it still just because they want to move or whatever. Yet, there are a lot of things you can do. One thing, like my wife just put this buyer in a contract. They got $21,000 towards closing costs. That's going to put them at a 4.5%, almost 5% interest rate. So there are companies out there, new builders. We've been negotiating with a lot of these new builders on things. And that's one of the things is getting the interest rate. And some of these new builders are offering lower interest rates. And that's what we'll get to in a second here about new builds. I'm just trying to get to some of the comments here. So my advice right now is survive until 25. Okay. So here's what's interesting. So Zillow is so sure that the U.S. home price have bottomed that they just issued a bullish calls. What I want to get to down here, is it not this article? Maybe it's the next article is going to look at, but they're looking at all the markets that are next year or by the end of this year, they're looking at going over 6%. And guess what market they added in there? The Austin market. Look, they're saying that the Austin market's going to appreciate another 6.4%. Now, the big thing here is that interest rates right now, and I have an article for this, interest rates are at 7.2% right now. Yet so let me go through some of these markets real fast. I got so many things I want to talk about. I'm moving all over the place. That's what happens. This is what's better when I can edit videos because I can edit out all my craziness. But like Visalia, California, where I'm from, they're predicting that it's going to go over almost 8.5% increase. Tyler, Texas, they're looking at 9% increase. Stefan says, hi, Eileen. She's watching. She doesn't ever comment. Eileen, you should comment. People like that. They like to see your face. So you want to see Eileen's face. Eileen's not good with like ask her a quick question, like answer it. She has to really she's very analytical. So it takes her a second to like really come up. Her answers are always very good, but it takes a second. So that's why she's not always on here. But Fresno, California, I would not want to move back to Fresno, California for my life, but they are saying it's going to be up 7%. Now, but why is that? And that is because you're looking at interest rates right now are 7.2%. But here's the crazy thing is that Goldman Sachs is saying interest rates will hit an average into 2024 at 5.9%. The National Association of Realtors at 6%. Morgan Stanley is saying that interest rates are going to be, will start 2024 at 6%. Imagine a percent lower. That's going to drop that, what Aaron was saying earlier, $1,600 extra for property down, probably $700 down from that. So that's a pretty big drop in that. Moody's Analytics is saying that they're going to be 6% and then 5.5 into 2025. And that goes back to Aaron's point. Aaron's saying hold out till 2025. What's going to happen though, when we get to 2025 and these interest rates drop back down to 5.5, do we see prices start going up? That's going to be the question. A lot of people in the last week's video said, okay, well, you have jobs coming down. You have a lot of these things. The Austin market, we still haven't seen the jobless claims increase yet. I'll keep an eye on it. I look at the Y charts for that. So when I see a change in that, I will definitely add that in there. Yet we are seeing a lot of companies lay off, but we are seeing a lot of people go into different jobs in different fields. Ian and I talked about that last week. But what do you think about this? What do you think about the fact that Fannie Mae is saying that they're going to be, and Fannie Mae is probably the highest right here. Realtor.com is saying 6.1 will start 2024. Fannie Mae is saying that they're going to start at 6.4. I find that hard to believe. You tell me if you find that hard to believe. And I want to know if you find that hard to believe, because right now, interest rates are at 7.16%. They're not low. I mean, that's the highest they've been in a long time. What this says, weekly mortgage demand drops again as interest rates match a 22-year high. 22 years. And that puts us back to what? I can't even do math. 2021, interest rates are at 2021 levels, but at 2023 prices. That's pretty crazy. What do you guys think about that? Nicolas Cage, good to have you here. If you didn't know, Nicolas Cage is a big fan of mine. I'm a big fan of Nicolas Cage too. Love Gone in 60 Seconds. Would you wait till 2025 to refinance out of 6.5%? I would say you definitely need to see where prices go. I mean, you're at 6.25 right now. I don't think that you're going to get a refi below 6.25 unless you're really buying down the rate. So I would probably, if you can swing the mortgage, I would probably wait to see what rates do, because as they fall, you're going to see people refinance, and lenders are going to be happy all over again, because lenders have not been that happy. Aaron says, I think rates will drop in 2024. We'll see what the Fed does. I mean, it's up to the Fed. The Fed is the one that keeps raising rates when we are where we are. The jobless claims, all that stuff, the CPI keeps coming out. I mean, here's the problem right now, is that there's so much information to intake and so much information that it's actually available. If you think about the difference between now and 2008, there was very few people speculating a crash. And the reason why is they didn't have all the information. None of this stuff was as readily available as it is now. So you have so many YouTubers out there, regardless of what they're saying, giving out information. So many more articles are coming out and people are able to regurgitate that. So we're seeing a lot more information. Does this put paralysis into people to stop buying? Does this put the fear into people to buy? You tell me. But as a result, demand for home buyers was essentially flat week to week and 26% lower the same week of a year ago. The adjustable rate share of those applications did rise slightly as ARM loans offer slightly lower rates. So you can do ARMs. This is one thing I think that, I mean, if you're looking at an ARM can be a good thing, yet that ARMs and these adjustable rate mortgages is what got a lot of people in trouble in 2008. So I would be very careful about doing a 2-1. So if we do think that rates are going to come down to 5.5% by 2022, it's up to you. Do you do a 2-year ARM thinking to refi in a couple of years? What are your thoughts? I mean, a lot of you in the comments are saying things like that. Dinosaur D says, here's an insider scoop for you. Tier 2 tech companies are starting layoffs. There you go. There you go. Aaron says, at Cage, it depends on your current rate and where you break. I'm missing the big point. Rent is about to skyrocket here too. I'm curious, Aaron, because I'm seeing rates come down. Why do you think that they are in fact going up? And Stefan, man, it's good to see you, man. But I'm curious, why do you think interest rates that rents are about to go up? I'm curious, because everybody else is saying rents are coming down still. According to LinkedIn, in Austin, hiring is down 25% from last year. Okay. Hiring is down 1% from last month. Wow. So we are seeing a reduction. Thank you for putting that in there, Stefan. Appreciate it. The price to invest in real estate is up now due to the interest rates, and those will be passed on to renters soon. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think what's interesting too, and I had an article that I was going to talk about. Did I remove it? I did. But there was an article I was going to talk about, which was the tax rebates, the tax incentives. Aaron, I want to hear from you. The tax, you missed last week, so we talked about the taxes quite a bit. But what do you think that the new tax rules and tax laws are they going to help? Are they going to hurt? you have investors that own properties still have a 20% cap. That still seems really high to me. I mean, I would much prefer that to be at a 5% cap. In terms of rent, Stefan says, in terms of rent, Zillow, there are 4,300 units in Austin available. 400 are below 1,300. That number of cheap option is increasing. I like that. Aaron says, so now that a single family home costs about $3,400 a month, that means it needs to rent for 37 to break even. That will increase rent. It's interesting. Will people pay that is the question. And so Aaron, to the tax question, says, I don't think it will make a difference. People will move and it will adjust. Well, it's interesting. If Austin, like Stefan said, is not hiring, it's 25% reduction year over year in hiring and down 1% month over month. Does that, I mean, that's probably too why we're seeing prices not increase as high. You have 25% less hires. That's 25% less people in the market with a lot more inventory. So that's probably why we are seeing that. All right, I want to keep moving here. So one thing that's really interesting is that I keep hearing people say that they are going to go buy foreclosures, or they want to buy a foreclosure, or that, with interest rates being this high that we're delinquent. Here's from, and I'm a big fan of Mortgage Bankers Association. They're very data analytical driven. So the delinquency rate for mortgage loans on 1 to 4 unit residential properties decreased to a seasonal adjusted rate of 3.37% of all loans outstanding at the end of the third quarter 2023. According to Mortgage Banker Association National Delinquency Survey, I'm not even on here. There we go. The delinquency rate was down 19 basis points from first quarter 2023 and down 27 basis points from 1 year ago. Percentage of loans on which foreclosure auctions were started in the second quarter fell by 3 basis points. So this is pretty interesting, is that what you're seeing on the chart here, everybody anticipated that we're going to see a huge increase in delinquencies and foreclosures. Yeah, here's the during the pandemic, I mean, here's pre-pandemic, we're back at pre-pandemic levels. So, and you had a ton of sales. So we might see, I have a feeling that this will bounce back up for sure. I think once you see more people lose their jobs, once you see more of this, and if we do hit this recession, that more people are now seeing us hitting this recession that is coming soon. I mean, I think you will probably see a few more of this hit. Where that goes, I don't know, but I don't think it's going to be this skyrocketing foreclosure, because people that bought loans, especially in 2020, 2021, we talked about the golden handcuff. You're at 2.5% interest rate. Why would you let that go? That's really hard to do. You could almost rent that property out because you have a 2.5% interest rate. And that's what Aaron has been saying too. Aaron says, I don't think it will make it. Okay. Aaron says, I just don't think it is enough to help the average person. I agree. And that's going back to the tax question. So one more thing on here. Compared to last quarter, the seasonal adjusted mortgage delinquency rate decreased for all loans outstanding by stage of a 30-day delinquency rate decreased 2 basis points. So the question here is, do you really think, based on this information that the Mortgage Broker Association put out, that we are seeing a wave of foreclosures coming? I want to hear from you in the comments, because this is something I think a lot of people are waiting for, right? When they hear crash, they hear foreclosures, they hear auctions, they think of 2008. If we are getting close to this, whatever crash is, or the bottom of the market, are we going to see an uptick? Now, Austin's already full of a lot of, let me get this out of here. Now, Austin does have a lot of inventory at the moment, so that is something to think about. The other thing to think about is I've shown several articles where the state of Texas and Austin, the amount of people that are equity rich in their property, it's huge. It was like 64% the last time we looked. So you have a lot of equity rich people. Now, what that means though, is that if, let's say you have, and 35% of homes are owned pure out cash. So if you think about that, it was like 30% owned pure out cash, 30% were, or 32% were, I think it was like under 100,000 or whatever it was. There was a chart that I'll have to find in a minute, but 30 to 35% of homeowners own their home free and clear. So why would they sell? On top of that, if you have a low interest rate, rent that property out. So this might see a decrease in the amount of inventory going forward, but I think what we will see overall is towards the end of this year, we're going to see a lot of inventory drop off in the Austin area. It's what happens because people want to put their home back on the market. These equity rich sellers are going to go, wait, I'm just going to put my house back on the market in April of next year and collect that sweet, sweet dollars, because right now it doesn't make sense to sell. Okay. So I think that's something you will see. What do you think? What are your thoughts on that? I do want to get to the most important article, I think, of the day is this one. All right, let's answer some questions real quick before I get into this article, because I think this is a good one. So where are we at? 33 minutes. All right. Hey, what is the other guy that usually on the show? Did he just, did he get stranded somewhere because his Tesla ran? No, I don't know if you heard at the beginning of this dinosaur, I fired him. I straight up fired Ian. I said, you're out of here. You're too handsome for this channel. Your beret is taken over. I'm just kidding. We had scheduling conflicts, and I had to get this out today. Can I be honest? The people who are waiting for the crash will not have the grounds to buy during the crash. I have been saying that, Aaron, for a very long time. The people that weren't able to buy when prices went crazy are going to be the same people that can't buy when the prices come down, because everybody wants two things: cheap house, cheap interest rate. You're not going to get both. Let me repeat that. Everybody wants a cheap house and a cheap interest rate. You're just not going to get that. If you do, buy as many as you can, because that's what people were doing in 2021. All right, what else we got here? True, Aaron. True, true, true. His Tesla is being charged by his iPhone. Ian, I hope you're watching this, man. Ian, why isn't Ian should at least be texting from his Tesla? It drives itself. In Pflugerville, we have eviction filings against 9.5% of all renters. That is insane. In Cedar Park, it is 0.05. So location matters a lot. Wow. And Aaron, what are you seeing? Are you having to evict anybody? That's a good point. Aaron owns several properties, I think. Nice, Aaron. Okay. So here's what I want to get to next, because I think this is super, super important, is everybody is nationally, there's not a lot of inventory, right? We're very low inventory. And right now in the Austin area, we have a fair amount of inventory. 30-ish% is new construction. So this move seems a little interesting to me. And that is that our good friend of the channel, longtime friend of the channel, Warren Buffett, just made a big bet on the U.S. housing market. So here's what he did. So on Monday, Berkshire Hathaway disclosed to the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission that it had made an investment of 3 major home builders. 3 home builders that I don't necessarily love, but D.R. Horton, which is number 20 on Fortune 500, Lennar, sorry, something always happens viscerally when I say that word, which is 119 Fortune 500, and NVR, I've never heard of NVR, so I'll look into them, a Fortune 376. In total, Berkshire Hathaway bought 5,900,000, almost 6 million shares of D.R. Horton, 152,000 shares of Lennar, and 11,000 shares of NVR, totaling about 800, what was it, 800 million? Where is it at? Yeah. The shares are worth over 800 million, with more than 700 million being in D.R. Horton. That's a huge bet on D.R. Horton. So I wonder if D.R. Horton was coming down. If we look at the D.R. Horton, do I have it? Yeah, right here. So look at D.R. Horton when this got announced. So this was on Monday. They had a huge run up after he bought, and then boom, we're back down to where we were pretty much on Monday. So if you bought a bunch of stock yesterday anticipating it to continue to go up, I'm sorry, it did not continue to go up. That's a bummer, man. Sorry. What I find interesting about this, and why I think it's an interesting move, is that there is very little inventory. D.R. Horton, Lennar, they build heavily in Texas. And in Texas, we're seeing more inventory. So you're going to see these builders go find land outside of Austin, and they're going to be finding a lot more land because now they have an influx of cash. So anyway, here's what else. Well, it says this year was witnessed an impressive performance in the home builder sector. What's interesting about this, I have an article. Is it this one right here? Nope. I think I removed it. Home builder sentiment actually dropped. Was it right here? Yeah. So home builder sentiment decreased. Remember last month I said home builder confidence increased. After steadily rising 7 consecutive months, builder confidence retreated in August as rising interest rates nearing 7% and stubbornly high shelter inflation have further eroded housing affordability and put a damper on the consumer market. What's interesting about this is that builders right now have been competing heavily in the market. So what they're doing and what we've seen is they're offering they're partnering with a lender, they're buying down the rate. So you're still paying $500,000 for this house, but instead of paying $450 for the home, they're giving you 20 grand in incentives and they're buying down the rate to 4.9. You're going 500 grand, perfect. I'm at 4.9, I'm buying this home. Now, is that the best move? You got to look at the finances for yourself, because if you're at 4.9, it's going to be a long time before you can refinance down to a lower rate, and you're at 500. So think about that when you're doing that. But we just had a client that got 15,000 off, plus we got 21,000 in closing costs. So their interest rate is going to be nominal compared to at that 7% interest rate. But this is why builders, and this is why I think, and you drop a comment below and tell me, this is why I think Warren Buffett went in on this deal, because he knows that right now it's really hard to compete in the resale market. But if you go to new construction and you create the market yourself, you're creating the market. You set the prices. You can set the prices high and then work your way back down. But builders don't want to lose money, especially with this information that now the builder sentiment's coming down. I find it quite interesting that he bought it. But you tell me in the comments. I love this comment right here. JS says, timing the market is damn near impossible. And then Dinosaur D says, yep, a lot of tech companies beyond Amazon, Netflix, Facebook, or et cetera, are starting layoffs. They are finally catching up and realizing the headwinds. Interesting. But that's what happens. So if think about it, though, too, is that with interest rates at 7% or the Fed fund rate being at, 4.5%, almost 5.5% now, the government's borrowing money back, right? So the government's having to pay this interest back. It behooves to get the CPI down, to get inflation down. It behooves them to stop spending money like a drunken sailor. That way, they're not having to pay money back at a higher rate. But what do they care? It's our money anyway, right? Amazon did signs of optimistic but cautious growth. So that's pretty much everything I had for tonight. Let's see what else I had. I had, this is pretty interesting. So Tennessee developer Sprouts is actually going to be moving to bringing a Kyle store in Kyle, Texas. So if you're looking at moving to the Kyle area and you're a big fan of Sprouts, they are potentially coming to the Kyle area. I do have one more thing here. I got a listing in Circle C, pretty nice listing, listed at $844. Pretty good price for this. There is a slightly larger home that just went under contract at $899. So if you're looking in Circle C, there you go. What else do we got here? That's what I got. All right, let's just do questions now. Let's have fun with Aaron. At the end of the day, does anyone actually think prices will go down by 30 and will be down in 30 years? I don't think so. One thing I read the other day that was pretty interesting was that the amount of boomers that will be putting their house on the market, it's going to be pretty high. And so we might see more, and it's not going to see the problem if I think about my parents' house and I think about boomers' homes, which I don't mean to be rude when I say boomers, but when you have this crowd putting their homes in the market, they're not brand new homes, they're old homes, they're going to need a lot of reno. So if I'm a flipper, I'm okay with all these boomers putting their homes on the market because I'm going to try to buy them before they go to the market and flip them. I don't know. What do you think? Let's see. To Real Migos Control, DR Horton is all over San Marcos, many houses under $350K, 100%. But you also have to live in San Marcos. Do you like San Marcos? That's the question. I have nothing wrong with San Marcos, but do you like San Marcos? That's the question. What's going to be interesting is the government switch people to CBDC to force them to spend out of their ruts. I mean, there's a lot of information. I didn't pull up these articles. I thought about it, but what is it? The credit card debt is up over $1 trillion. 300 billion of that has been since, Trump, Biden. So pretty much the pandemic. So we have a lot of people in credit card debt. You have people, obviously we have people losing jobs. But does that mean that home prices are just going to come slashing down and slash prices? That's the question. I just don't see it yet, especially with, outside, if you take Austin out of it, it's going to be interesting to see because around the nation, we have very little inventory. So buying DR Horton isn't the worst. New apartment complexes are popping up all over Buda, Kyle. Absolutely. Is the same thing happening in parts of Austin? Yes. I saw an article that it was like 19,000 units or doors were going to be hitting in 2023, 24 in the Austin area. But the problem with that is a lot of those that are getting ready to close, they need to refi as well. And so you have a lot of those commercial loans coming due. So you may see a lot of sales, short sales, things like that, or you might see a lot of the lenders refining or redoing those loans. So something pretty interesting I'm seeing out there. But yeah, there's a lot of new construction in the multifamily space in the Austin area. Builders are also started building small homes in Austin. They did that too. My friend, Mr. Spicy Trey Serrano, put out a video showing these tiny homes that they were building in San Antonio for like 100, 150 grand. And they were like 700-800 square foot. They were tiny, tiny homes. I think they were 100 grand. It's a lot. Stefan says, agree, in south of Austin are many homes under 300K. A year ago, that was impossible. Well, let's talk about that. Let's interesting. I want to look at that. Are there homes in Austin under 300K? South of Austin under 300K. Come on, internet. All right, here we go. Let's go. We'll do 350K minus. All right. Oh, we got to make sure we put this single family. If you don't put this single family, then it does all the condos. Hold on. Single family. Okay, here we go. Here is all the 350 homes criteria. Oh, wait, you need to see it. Sorry, you need to see it. Here we go. Okay. So here's all the 350 homes on the market. And you're right. There's a lot down in Kyle. And look at this, man. Be smart for some investors to come cash buy up all of these. See the tax rate for this. This is Silverado. I've sold several homes in Silverado. Pretty nice little neighborhood. Let's see what the tax rate is. 2.4, $9,000 in taxes a year. So the question is, and that's down from 325. Wow. There are quite a few. This is a 4-bedroom, but this is 2004. I mean, this is not bad. 300,000. What do you think about that? Aaron, you going to start buying stuff down south? Let's look more. There's a lot like East Austin. East Austin has a lot of stuff. San Marcos. These are, what is this? Trace is the neighborhood. Let's see. 1,600 square foot. This is Whisper. Okay. Trace is out here too. 2.35. They're estimating $7,200 taxes. 2023. I mean, that's not bad. I would, if my client came to me and said, "Hey, Jeremy, we're going to be negotiating like crazy on all of these." So Eileen's the negotiator. I'm telling you, I joked with the client that Eileen put under contract the other day. I said, Eileen's the negotiation expert. So, and then he texted me back, legitimately texted me back. He's like, holy crap, Eileen is a negotiation expert. Lennar's in San Antonio. Yeah, that's this tiny home, the community I was talking about, like $100,000 for a tiny home. I'll pass. Do you really live in a 50 to 100-year-old home? Do you really? No. Yeah, this is back to the comment we were making about the boomer homes. I mean, those are going to be full flips. Yeah, I'm surprised to see smaller homes in Dripping Springs. Yeah, about that. I mean, I recently did videos about Dripping Springs on the channel, neighborhood walkthroughs, looking at different floor plans. And Dripping Springs had, there's a section that's, you can get 500K homes. I mean, I just bought an investment property in the 300s in Dripping Springs. So, and we negotiated a lot off that one too. I mean, that one was initially priced, I think, $419. We got it well into the 300s. Will there be a lot of teardowns in the next 2 years? I think you're still going to see a lot of that infill. The east side of Austin, you're still going to see a lot of infill. Central Austin, where we have infill 78704, that's semi-insulated in there. So you're going to see a lot of of that happen. And then look at the areas where you have like 2004 homes. You have these older communities like Cedar Park, these all developed communities, these older communities. You're going to see people start really flipping homes in there too. So yeah, I think you're going to see a bigger flip opportunity. Wow, now that I'm thinking about this, I might have to get in the flipping game. I need to get in the flipping game because there's going to be some major opportunities, especially if this inventory stays like this, that we can do those. I buy ugly homes and then flip those. I'm in. I think there's going to be a lot of flip opportunities coming. Aaron, you want to flip some properties with me? I would be for a few years per minute. Okay, I don't know what he's talking about. Stefan, exactly. They are baking lots of price into them. All right. What is your team seeing regarding new builds? Are builders bending to incentives and negotiations? I mean, legitimately, I just said Eileen just negotiated yesterday with a client or was it Monday with a client? We're talking $36,000. So yeah, you got to have the right agent negotiating for you though, because you got to be able to know what to ask for and what you can and can't ask for. So if you just go in there blindly trying to negotiate, builder may not work with you. So Mr. Perfect, what's up, man? Dripping Springs local. All these builders making and that was the point about the Dripping Springs homes. They were like 1,600 square foot homes for 400, but all these builders making 1,500 square foot homes, Home Depot sheds disguised as homes for 300K is in the Maxwell area. Yeah, that was the area we were talking about out near Kyle. Bedrooms are 8x8. Profit margins are huge for them. And that's why the companies that Warren Buffett bought, DR Horton, Lennar, NVR. I don't know anything about NVR. I'll have to look into them, but they're building really small product, not very good quality products sometimes. So Aaron says, I'm betting my life on Lakeside Meadows. Be careful. There's rumors that there's a person drowning people in Town Lake, or Ladybird Lake. So I wouldn't bet my life on things like that. What's good about San Marcos? It's close to New Braunfels. Ground control to Major Tom. There you go. I have never thought Dripping Springs area will have homes at 400K. There is that. Yeah, 400K in Dripping Springs. Now, look, you are actually in the heart of Dripping Springs, right? I'll show you here. You're in the heart of Dripping Springs. So if you think about that, that is going to be a pretty hefty drive into the Austin area. It is going to be at least a 40-ish minute drive at least. And the traffic with school has gotten bad. I was just driving yesterday in North Austin. So this is the area off 12 that they're building a lot of stuff. I actually had another agent reach out to me today. I've been working with the reps with MI Homes and they're asking me what they could negotiate because I've been working with the reps out there. So interesting. Is Lakeside Meadows selling it? I don't think they are. I haven't looked it up, but Dinosaur D, is Lakeside Meadows selling it? He's been all over that neighborhood. That listing you pulled up for 115 Spur Cove just came back after being under agreement. My take is that the home inspector found a problem. The Kyle area has a lot of foundation problems. That's a very, very fair assessment, and I don't disagree. Traditionally, where you're going to see foundation issues, and a lot of clients were trying to buy on the east side during the pandemic. You have to be careful on the east side so all of 35, there's a fault that runs right through here, right? And so you have to be careful when you're buying east of I-35, especially older homes, that, whoever the builder was, they didn't have really bad quality control issues, because you do have foundation issues 100%. Over here near Bluff Springs, this neighborhood right here, Bradshaw Crossing, Lennar is still being sued because they had like 60 or 70 homes had foundation failures over here. And look at this, 350 homes over here. Oh, wow. I didn't think I would see 350K homes over here. But this is area you definitely have to be careful of foundation issues. Wow. Look at the tax rate though. 1.97. I don't know if that actual tax rate's right. Let's look. I usually have to double check anytime I see these tax rates. Yeah, 5,800 for the year. Wow. 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 Let's see what we got. Might actually convince me to jump in. 350 homes. I mean, 350 homes at 7% isn't fantastic, but 350 homes, if we see people jump back in the market later, in next year when rates come down and you can refi later, that might be the way to go. You got to look at your numbers. I can't tell you what to do. Not yet. They are getting Pepsi set up first. It gives them time for the HEB and 130 at Pflugerville Parkway to be built. And he's talking about, what was it? That Meadows area. All right. What we got? Thanks for everybody jumping in tonight. Sorry Ian wasn't here. He was sad he couldn't make it tonight. He is not fired. I was just kidding. I love Ian to death. So Ian and I actually put on a big realtor event September 8th. If you got any realtor friends, my email and all my contacts in here. Email me on my Instagram. We've been posting this realtor event. I have Monica Church, who was on the channel. She's coming. And she's going to talk about YouTube and stuff like that and the market and all that good stuff. If you're interested, Aaron, this might be something you DM me on and check out. I have September 30 or August 31st. I don't know how much room I have left, so you got to email me on this one if you want to attend. So David Tandy, who is an economist, and he is the president of TNT Title. I have him doing a talk for agents September 31st, going over the market update, market expectations. I've been following David Tandy for years, and he's usually been pretty spot on with what's happening in the market, especially during the pandemic. He was spot on. So this isn't really open to the public, but if you are interested, my email, my contacts in here. If I have enough room, I have to see how many tickets I have left. The space we have is a little bit smaller. It's only for 40 agents. We will start building any new subdivisions. Will they start building in 78733? I don't know. That's a question I'm gonna have to look up, and I don't have it off the top of my head. I will never buy in 78733. That is, let's see, that is Cuernavaca, and I don't think that is going to happen. Yeah, Cuernavaca. I haven't seen anything on the docket for Barton Creek, Cuernavaca area, so I haven't seen anything showing up yet. But I would love if they built a neighborhood out there. You have a lot of room out there. I would love to see a luxury neighborhood out there. If that's what you're looking for, Matt, I can find you stuff out there in Cuernavaca right now. I would never buy on the east side, very high. I think that's property rate and under development. Yeah, I mean, that was my biggest problem with Easton Park for the longest time. There's just nothing out there. Jerry Bear, I'm dying to know what you think of what's happening in Hawaii with the fires, people losing homes, and government trying to buy up the land from underneath them. Any merit of that? The government trying to buy up home from them. So I have a friend in Maui. That's actually, you know what? I'm going to have to get with him, and I'll bring him on and talk to it because. So I have a really good friend in Maui that we've talked quite a bit. We've been talking about this. I was a little on my Instagram, not too happy with some things I saw. And so I was chatting with him. He was getting a lot of hate from people because he's a realtor there, but he's not, he's literally trying to help people, and people are giving him a little bit of hate, but he is actually trying to help people. I'm interested in this. I'm going to look into a little bit more. I'll talk with him and maybe I'll bring him on. He's a really sweet guy, really nice guy. He's very Hawaiian though. It's just very charismatic, free range, loving guy, very sweet guy. So I'd love to bring him on and chat about that. I think it's sad because what he was saying in a couple posts that he put out was that a lot of real estate agents and investors were reaching out to people to buy their properties. As far as the government buying the properties and trying to buy it out from them, I don't know that's happening. I don't have any faith to say that wouldn't happen though. So you tell me if I'm right or wrong. I mean, I don't know. I was driving to see new developments north. A hard no. Well, let me know. Let me know what ones you're looking for. We can help. I am going to have wifey reach out to you. She deals with over 300 rental units in the area. Would make a great addition to your crew. Definitely reach out. We're adding. I mean, the crazy part about right now is we just brought on a new assistant this week. I brought on a new showing agent this week, And we've also are hiring buyer agents for our team. So what's crazy is like, while the market's crazy, like there's a lot of people and there's deals. The thing is, like, investors that we're working with are seeing the deals and they're buying. Aaron's not quite there yet. So you're welcome, Dinosaur D. How tight have the banks been on lending? I've been looking at property in Hutto. Well, usually we have Sarah on the channel. It's been a while since we've had Sarah, so maybe we'll bring her back. If you're looking in Hutto, I mean, there's a lot of good prices in Hutto. Definitely reach if you're needing help. Eileen is definitely the negotiation expert. I'll put you in touch with her. Yet, I don't think banks are being super tight. In fact, I think they're trying to be a little bit more lenient because they are trying to sell homes and sell loans, and so they are trying to. I don't have a good answer for that question, to be honest with you, but I wouldn't say I don't think lending has gotten tighter. How about that? Has it gotten a little bit looser? Maybe on certain things. Maybe they're allowing certain things to go through because these lenders do want a package. And that would be bad. That would be a bad thing, though, if they really loosened up lending. But reach out if you want to get in touch with a good lender. I have 3 really solid lenders that we work with. Any short-term rental owners watching. Lots of gloom and doomers on YouTube. We don't see that happening in the greater Austin area. Thank you, Major Tom to ground control. Holy smokes. There was an article, I have to find it. There was a lawsuit from somebody in Houston that sued Austin over the rental rules and short-term rentals. So that looks like it might be overturning, which means that more people can go short-term rental their properties. So I don't know that that's good for people that have short-term now. If you see a flood of short-term rentals, I think that it's funny. I was talking with somebody last night. There's a bunch of Keller Williams agents here in town right now, and they're doing their big family reunion thing. And so, I network with agents all the time. So I'm down there, we were going over this, but all those hotels have a vested interest not to have you have a short term. But yes, Major Tom, back to the point. Yeah, what was interesting, I talked about this, the stats that were put out by that one YouTuber and the actual stats were completely different. And that person got a ton of headway from that. And I found it weird that no journalist would take time to push back. They just brought him on for a quick sound bite, which I found ridiculous. So yeah, thank you, Major Tom. Sounds like someone found a new way to steal more land from the Hawaiians. Yeah, I think the whole thing is like incredibly sad. We were in Maui last year in March for my wife's birthday. Her birthday's in March. And we had such a wonderful time. And we were in Lahaina and was at Kilauea, whatever it is right next to it. And Betty's was this little sweet little spot. I'm almost tearing up thinking about it, but Betty's is this little restaurant that we stopped at. It was just gorgeous. It was a beautiful day. I even bought a mug because I was like, man, I have to buy a mug to remind myself of this place. I went on their Instagram, the whole place burned down. I just so sad. And to see people seeing people that I get it. I mean, as an investor, when I first thought about this, I thought, man, that's going to be a good opportunity. But I thought, oh crap, you have hundreds of people dying. You have hundreds of people thousands of people that are losing their homes. And you have all these developers like frothing at the bit. And then the government wanting to potentially take their land away. I find it sad. Depends on the person. If you're individual based, you need to make sure your income is docked and you are making enough. Yeah, because, that's interesting is like, I've seen people we're going back to the loan thing. I've seen people try to do this pay stub loan. And you could still do those, but man, you're like, if interest rates are at 7.2%, you're paying like 9% for that. That's crazy. Southwest Austin area, really lacking some nice shopping. Southwest? Come on, Top Mix. Don't get all up in my Southwest like that. I'm just messing around. So what's interesting, so you are 100% correct, Top Mix. Southwest Austin area is really lacking on some nice shopping area options, hopefully in the future. So Brody Oaks, which is right there off South Lamar, 290-71 area before you get out to the Y at Oak Hill, they are looking to redevelop all of that. So you're going to see a huge billion-dollar development deal going on in there. Dripping Springs is developing like crazy right now. So off 290. I live near, what is that? Belterra Village. They're building a lot right there. So we are seeing a lot. So I definitely think you're going to see a lot of growth Southwest. because that's where people are moving north and southwest primarily. Major Tom, I'm not in short term and I'm not having any issues. Yeah, he's doing full 1 year lease. Yeah. If you have over 750 score, they almost don't care what your DTI is. Yeah, we were talking about it last week, going, what's the normal DTI? It was like 43%, something like that, but people were getting up to 50% DTI. I was planning on selling my home in Liberty Hill. Should I hold off? I can't stand paying these property taxes. That is 100% why people are frustrated and listing properties right now. I owe 300 and I have it listed at 369. So if you're on the market right now at 369, it's interesting because if you put that thing at 350, I bet you'd have, so I'm not giving you real estate advice here. Okay. I'm not giving you real estate advice. I don't know what property is yours. I don't want to get in trouble with your agent, but the reality is there's price bands and pricing strategies. The 369 price might not be the best price for you. I don't know. I'm just saying. Okay. Any build areas in Leander city limits, reach out. There's lots. Reach out to us. I'm not going to go through all that right now, but reach out. We can chat with you about what's available because there is stuff being built in Liberty Hill or Leander. It just depends on your price point. At this level, they do TT from front end versus back requirement. Yeah. Okay. Lender stuff. All right. Thank you, Dinosaur D. $30, man. I appreciate you. It's been a while since people have thrown down cash on the channel. So I appreciate you, man. It's been a while too. I love the Q&A format. It's been a while since we had this. Always nice to get your insights. Coffee and tacos on me, Jerry Bear. Dinosaur D, you got to email me, man. We got to go hit Cosmic Coffee. I thought about, last year when we had Kevin on the show. Kevin's doing well, by the way. He started his own little brokerage, so that's kind of why we parted ways. No bad beef there. Love Kevin. In fact, he just showed me the Porsche he just bought, so he was all excited about that. But yeah, we were talking about doing like a meet and greet at like Cosmic with a bunch of like subscribers and meeting with people. But I'd love to still do that. I think it's something I've really wanted to do. Creating time for that has been the challenge. So, all right, what other questions we got? We're over an hour. The Q&A part of this has been pretty nice. I wish Ian was here to be part of this tonight. He is not, unfortunately. It's been a crazy week. Got a client I'm meeting tomorrow. We're showing tons of properties tomorrow. It's been a crazy couple weeks. All right, here we go. Let's go. Don't leave yet. We got questions. We should do that once the crazy. Oh God, yeah. So if you notice in the weather, it's going to be approaching the 90s soon. In fact, I swore I saw something with 88 in it. Don't hold me to that, but it'd be nice. Man, getting back down to 95 would be fantastic. Getting back down in the 80s, I can't wait. Stefan, I have to watch the rest tomorrow, but thank you for the live stream. It was a lot of fun. It was cool to have a realistic realtor on YouTube and a local one. Yeah, I appreciate that. I've tried to be super honest with the way, look, I am a realtor. I do sell homes. I do benefit from buying and selling homes. The reality is when I created this channel, I didn't want to be the guy that just made it about selling homes. I felt it was more important to give people information and let them do it. If they wanted to call me and reach out to me, awesome. And that's why we did this channel. And I felt the best way to do that was to be as honest as possible because I see so many, there's a lot of channels out there that they just do property tours. Right. They're just selling homes. So I thought it'd be good to have a mix where it wasn't just all property tours. Now I am going to go back to doing more property tours. I had to admit doing all of this like super heady information and running a team has been very wearing. I lost 40 pounds, as I said earlier. All right, Stefan, thank you, man. I appreciate you. All right, everybody. I appreciate you. We'll see you again. We'll put clips on this Saturday, Sunday. I love you all. Have fun. Beat the heat.